It's very important for me to be here at this conference to talk about my experiences in being outed and what I think business should do to make it safer for people to be their authentic selves in their place of work.
It's important for me to share what's happening in our firm at BCG and how we're helping progress the effort. And also to share some of my personal experiences and how I've found a way to be out, open, comfortable in the business community.
I am an absolute passionate advocate for diversity in all shapes and forms, but particularly LGBT diversity. I take my responsibility as being a role model for LGBT folk really seriously. And I think the more that I can engage with a wider audience in different circumstances, from different sectors, the more we can, as a community, get the confidence and the fluency to talk about issues that we're facing.
LGBT forms part of the 5 diversity strands that we work with in Barclays. And it's really important to us because the financial services industry has been through, how should we say, some challenging times the last couple of years. And one of the things we've done to address that and to begin to shift the culture we have within the business is to develop our group values. For us, it's really important that every colleague can give us their best at work and be truly themselves. And that applies at all levels of the organisation.
The goal is to do 2 things. Make sure that nobody doesn't join Bain because they're gay, and nobody leaves Bain because they're gay.
I think 20 years of success in terms of setting the benchmark, in terms of internal policies, domestic partner benefits, tax gross up. So we will actually gross up your salary if you happen to live in a jurisdiction that doesn't recognize you and your partner's marriage or non-marriage. If you get a tax penalty for that, we'll actually increase your salary to recognize that, which is truly best practice.
I think the biggest challenges for any business in the next 5 years we'll probably end up with at least 4, if not 5 generations in the workplace. Particularly in mature economies where your retirement age has been dispensed with, so you can basically work for as long as you like, and your employer can't compel you to leave. And I think for all of us, that generational shift is going to be quite a challenge.
There have been huge changes, but there's a lot more work to do. I think one, we need to be mindful that we don't move backwards and that we continue the work that we're doing. I think families are a big frontier. I think LGBT families, it's an area where compared to other global cities, London's very far behind. Everyone's a parent or becoming a parent who wants to be, and I feel like here that dialogue is just starting to begin. And we also have legal changes and issues that have to happen with that. There's some particularly around surrogacy, which isn't fully legal in the UK.
And actually, I don't see a conflict between allowing people to be and encouraging people to be authentic at work and the pursuit of our commercial objectives and delivery of return to our shareholders.
I think if you can create from the top, as a CEO like Tim Cook has now at Apple, from the top all the way down, an inclusive environment, your shareholders in the long run will benefit because you will actually be a leader of the world's top talent.
To me, the most important thing in the 21st century is that people should be their authentic selves. And they need to pick the time when that's right. They need to feel safe that they can be their authentic selves, come out, be out, and act as an out person, but make sure that they are in places of work that make it possible for them to be that. If they find the place to be hostile, go and find another place to work.
These sorts of events have a responsibility in a way of talking about issues, but there's also an emotional connection you can actually get, a real pride in who you are. That it's worth coming to these events to realize that there are other people like you, that you can have a successful career, that being authentic, being diverse, being creative are all things that are incredibly valued by companies and by other people. So if you can't come, try to come next year.